Hi guys, thank you so much for watching today. I'm with Aisosa and we're going to be speaking about the mindful impact on nature and how nature has many benefits. So hi Aisosa, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Yeah,
How are you feeling?
good. Feeling very relaxed, if I should say, calm.
Yeah, what a great mental state to be, doing this interview on. Cool. So my first question to you is, do you think there's a correlation between our environment and nature and our moods?
Yeah. Of course, there is a very big correlation between things that are, I guess, external and things that are internal. Because it's kind of how our brain works. We combine this combination of everything we see, hear, smell, to, I guess, detect how we feel. I mean, that's not always the case. There's a lot of people where you can, I guess, control how you feel, to be different from what your surroundings kind of imposing on you. But at the same time, it's always easier to find center when you're in a place that's already trying to ground you, rather than trying to find a center in a chaotic environment. Of course, you can do that, but it takes a lot of practice. If you want to make it a lot easier for yourself, then it's always better to find, an environment that's already calming. So then you just, I guess, drift in with the environment. But there's a lot of things that affect our mood. Even colors, for example. Depending on what kind of color is in the environment, it kind of affects your energy, because you feel more upbeat in certain settings and you feel more relaxed in other settings. And it's the same with nature. I think everything about it just makes us want to take our shoes off and just relax.
Yeah, 100%. That's very interesting. Can you think of any examples that where you've personally felt like that in nature?
Usually it's in fields. I think I was reading about this as well. There is something about the color green that makes you feel relaxed, because it's in the middle of the spectrum of the colors you can see. So obviously there's red in the extreme hot, and then there's blue and violet in the extreme cold, and then in the middle is green. So when you look at the color green, you feel very, very centered. So just being in the field with a lot of greenery, for some reason, it just always seems like you're home, which would make sense, because we were meant to live in the fields and the forests and shit. So I guess it makes us feel at home when we're there. So
yeah, very nice. And sort of very similar to like the question I said before, but like, why do you think spending time in nature is good for you mindfully? And I guess more like sort of focusing on like being present in nature. How does nature have that impact?
Because most of the time we spend all our lives in these little boxes that that we call houses, I guess. Then they're nice, everything is all clean and straight and furnished, but in a sense you need new environments to engage certain parts of your brain. So it's like a lot of animals that like being out. That's why you have to take your dog for a walk every now and again, because if it stays in the same small cage all the time, you start to get agitated of this space. Because our natural inclination isn't to be in a box. Our natural inclination is to be gatherers, be in a forest. We haven't spent that long inside houses, and of course it's comfortable. That's the thing, we chase comfort. But if you're chasing, I guess, engagements, you're chasing, fulfillment, you're chasing things that brings you enlightenment, then you have to come out of those boxes. Which is why nature is very good. So there's so many things in nature that grant you, like sitting by the river, for example, and just watching it flow. Because to be present, you have to pay attention to little details. And in nature, there's so many little details you can get lost in. You can listen to the birds, you can watch the flies and the butterflies and the bees. You can sit by a river. Even looking at mountains and hills makes you realize just how small you are. You kind of, like when I'm in nature, usually I just feel like another animal in the park. The squirrels climbing the trees, the dogs are running, chasing the sticks, and I'm there cycling or doing whatever the fuck I'm doing. whatever I'm doing. But essentially, yes, being in the woods make you feel just like another animal, I guess. Which, you forget about your taxes, you forget about your job and your annoying boss and all these other things in society that's stressing you out, and for a moment you're just another squirrel chasing nuts.
Yeah, you just being there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And do you go to different places in nature depending on your mood? So, say if you're
Well, usually I tend to let my journey take me wherever. Do you know what I mean? But I guess I always have a different approach to it. So instead I'm going to a forest, or I'm going to a river, to the sea. But I don't know what it is. I like water a lot, but also like fields and trees. But mostly I like being in water. So there's a combination of both perfect. If not, then I'll go to the sea. Otherwise, I'll go to the forest. But recently as well, I've had a new fascination for mountains, just because I think they make you feel grounded.
Yeah.
Because you just kind of see how tiny you are, in relation to everything else.
It brings you back down to reality as well,
Exactly.
doesn't it? Yeah.
Like for a moment, your ego is non-existent because the fuck is it? Look at the mountain over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is
there's a lot more powerful things than us humans. Yeah.
Exactly. Because I think sometimes we forget that we don't own this planet.
Mm-hmm.
We've come to just kind of feel like this is our thing, and you just do whatever you want, and everyone forgets it's not just humans here. We have our own society. We get lost in this little system and this circle that we go around and around and around, and it's just us interacting with other humans. But there is so much more to Earth than just humans in the society. We make us just small percentages, but we don't realize this. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So there is so much more going on outside. Like for every human, there is 10 flies, maybe more. Do you know what I mean? There's like in every garden, there's a squirrel nibbling about somewhere. So there is a whole ecosystem out there that you're just unaware of because you're so lost in your little tiny world. But when you go in nature, it brings you out of society for a second, and you just, it kind of kicks in those primal instincts. And I think a lot of the times, like, we've kind of lost our, what's it called, like, initial programming.
Yeah.
Because, like, humans were designed to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And we did it so well, and we found other ways to automate those things, and now we don't have to do them. But at the same time, we still have all these tools to do them. Do you know what I mean? It's like having a scissor stuck to your hand because, you used to be a tailor, and now you're no longer a tailor, but now everywhere you go, you just keep cutting things, and you don't really have control of the scissors until you go back to actually doing what you're originally designed to do. I don't think that's a good example, but it sort of gets the point, because that's why you have a lot of these mental issues these days, because we have these these reactions that are still there, but we have no use for anymore. So that's why you're scared because you're meant to be scared when you see a lion running towards you.
100%, yeah. I read something about this actually.
But there is no lions coming towards
you.
So.
Because your primal instinct is to be feared of lions or things like that. Like we don't need to be feared of those things now because that's not the life that we're living in. But for some reason our brain still is scared.
Yeah, but so that I think that's why it's good to go back to those things, because then you can see where these traits come from. Because when you watch how animals relate with each other, you learn so much.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's why I love the Japanese philosophies. I think there was a samurai who said, if you spent your whole life chasing a cherry blossom, it won't be a life wasted. Because just by studying a cherry blossom and just watching it year in, year out, you learn so much about life from just that one interaction. Because it's like, if you want to study the ocean, you don't take the whole ocean to your life, you take a little piece of it. If you want to really understand how your mind works, how life is meant to kind of interact, you just take a little fraction of it and just pay attention to it. Which is what mindfulness tends to do. It's bringing that attention to your own self. But being able to pay attention is the skill that you need to be able to look at yourself. And the good way to practice this is paying attention to something else. So if you can learn to shine the light on something, then you can kind of, transfer that skill and then shine this light back to yourself and, reflect as well. But in general, just whatever draws your attention and keeps you focused and you can sustain focus and be grounded and come out of your head is always positive, and I think nature does this so well. Because I'm so busy looking at thinking about how big this cliff looks that I'm not really thinking about how big my problem is. Don't always it has to be a problem. Sometimes it could actually be how good things are going. Sometimes that could be overwhelming. Sometimes people get stressed out about a new job, like but coming out to somewhere where you forget about this for a moment, it gives your brain time to actually pause, so that when you come back into it, you have a fresh perspective.
100%, because nature will always welcome us with open arms as well. And it's not gonna be nature's just gonna be do you know what? There's no room for you here today. Do you know what I mean? That.
I feel like that when it rains sometimes. It's kind of like nature's forcing it back on. But I don't. That's just me and the rain. Some people love the rain, so I guess.
Yeah. See, I love the rain as well. But
in warm countries, yes.
Mm-hmm.
In England, no.
Yeah, because that's another thing as well. A lot of people sort of say nature has its own sort of impact and influence on our moods in terms of when it's very cloudy, we can feel certain ways. When it's raining, we feel certain ways.
Exactly.
I guess that's why it's so beneficial to spend time in nature that you actually want to be in.
Yeah, and the thing is, it actually has other benefits. Just when you think about, because just walking bare feet on the ground, for example, is such a beautiful thing to do.
Oh yeah, really.
Just grounding yourself, because you don't realize just how much benefits you have from this thing. Even the sun. That's why a lot of people get so depressed in the winter, because there's less sunlight, you have less vitamin D, you have less energy, which makes you want to go out less, which reduces the amount of sunlight you get, which makes you feel more shit.
Yeah.
And it's just this constant circle. In the winter, I feel like hibernating. I just don't want to come outside. But it's a problem that perpetuates itself, because it makes you do things that makes it get worse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like a sickness, really. When you're ill, and it makes you want to stay in bed, but when you move, it will make you feel better. But you don't want to move because you're ill. But staying in bed makes you even more ill. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing with.
Yeah.
But then in the summer, I feel like, wow, I want to go do shit. It's so hot inside, I want to be inside.
100%, yeah. Sometimes you just need to stuff. Yeah, just step outside or look out the window and just look at. Yeah.
I think a lot of people get worried about cloudiness. This is another thing I was talking about. When you study nature, you can see how life works. So when they always talk about cloudy days doesn't always mean the sun's not there. The clouds just covering the sky, and when the clouds goes by, the sun comes back up. You see all of this really nice saying, and that's why there's a lot of quotes that fit into almost every scenario. You know what I mean? You can pick up so many quotes from nature just because people have actually learned by looking at these things. They could draw patterns back to how their life works.
Yeah.
So. And
it sort of makes us feel because we're in that aspect as well, because there's so sort of many metaphors and stuff that we can use in our own life. It's we're so connected to that.
Yeah, that's what I mean about studying a little piece of life and then seeing how it all works. So I mean, just studying how bees interact with flowers, you can learn something so profound about the universe.
Yeah.
So no.
Definitely. Well, thank you. What did say if there's one thing that you would tell someone right now that they could do right this second, what do you think is the easiest way to go and spend time in nature? Do you think it's going outside or
so if I was
stand on grass or something?
Yeah, stand on grass is a very good idea. This one maybe requires a bit of investment, but just buy a bike. Genuinely is the best thing. Buy a bicycle. And I guess for some people learn to cycle. A lot of people know how to cycle. I'm guessing everyone knows that. But there's some people out there who don't know how to cycle. But buy a bike, learn how to cycle is the best thing you'd ever do. Just come off your house, get in your bike, and just cycle nowhere. Just go wherever. It doesn't even have to be in the forest. You can cycle through the city. I love cycling. I just put my headphones on, and I just just go on a trance and just hopefully don't go on a trance. You get hit by a car. But cycle. Pay attention to the road while you cycle. But yeah, cycling is very good.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best investments you can make. In any city you're in, anywhere in the world, just get a bike, preferably a mountain bike because you can just go off course and just go
Even
into a
bigger
field.
investment.
But
Yeah.
very good investment is what get a bicycle. Brilliant. I think Tyler the Creator said the same thing as well. That the best thing you can do is get a bike with a bunch of your friends, and I totally agree. Is because I spent a lot of time even when I was working before uni. Me and my friends would just get a bike and would cycle to work, and would like race all the way down there. And it was in the evenings you take your bike, go up this hill, and cycle down. And I think a lot of my interest in nature just died from cycling and just seeing things. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
I
I
want to
guess
come back here after work.
the most beautiful thing about cycling as well is that like you see so much of nature in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
You're constantly just whizzing past it, and you're like, oh, that's so cool. Like,
And then was like you can just go into the park. If you're driving, that's not. If you're driving, I feel like I'm in this box myself.
No, definitely.
I never remember the way when I drive because I don't pay attention to the road. I just put my music on, turn it up. And just,
That is so true.
I'm just going straight. Oh, it's a left now. I turn left, and then I go back to my music. Oh, it's a right. I turn right. I go back to my music.
And that's why so many people go set autopilot though when they're driving, because it's like, you know, you get in the car, you start your engine, and then you're just there. You're at the destination.
Exactly. And it goes so quick, you don't really notice I mean, you shouldn't really be noticing the little things because you should keep your eyes on the road.
But then with cycling, you're actually appreciating the journey of it.
Not even just that, you can stop, put your bike down, walk around, come back, grab your bike. If you see a forest that you like, you can cycle into the forest.
Oh yeah, that's.
You know what I mean? You don't have to drive past it.
That's beautiful. Do you know what?
That if you're driving on the motorway, you can't just stop and just be like, okay, I'm gonna take a left now into the woods. But if you're cycling, you have that option. You can just stop wherever and just do anything.
That's
Which is why it's actually a sick idea. Just get a bicycle and just
Lovely. I'm gonna go cycling now. After this, I think I actually might. Yeah. Gonna explore the woods.
Very good idea.
But thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything that you would sort of say to anyone?
Well, obviously our true home is nature. Yes, we've advanced to a point where we can create comfortable things for ourselves, and that's nice. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather sleep in the bed than sleep in the field, of course. Because that's conditioning, and that's what years and years of of living has taught me. Like, it's more comfortable to live in a bed, so why the fuck would you do anything else? Why should you do anything? But at the same time, our real home is in nature, and it's like the same. I'm Nigerian and I'm in the UK, and the UK is nice. Don't get me wrong. I mean, education's better, everything's better, but I still miss Nigeria so much. And that's a big part of me. I mean, I haven't had the food in a while. I mean, even when I go to the coast, it's not the same. Do you know what I mean? It's warmer when it rains. It's not the same. It's so cold when it rains here. So that there's this big part of me that yearns to go home, even though it's uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? There's a big part of me that would rather go through the blazing heat. You know what I mean? The corruption and everything, just because that feels more like home to me. Do you know what I mean? So this is more comfortable, but every now and again, it's nice to go back home and kind of connect to your roots again. Then you can come back and enjoy your comfort. Yeah. But nature's our home, and we should always make that trip back whenever we can.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you like this content, then go and visit our website and check out our podcast and articles and other videos. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.